Separated tanks. For example, this part. This is block 1, and if there is no fuel in it, it is useless to us because it's just weight. So we separate and leave it behind. That means we travel with less weight, and so we can reach space more easily. Yeah. Combining Space Shuttle and Saturn V, you get the newborn Space Launch System. In our model of the Space Launch System, it's just a simplified version, and you can see 3 main parts.
You can see the big white solid rocket boosters, the main engine, or the main stage with the engines, and the upper stage in white.
But why do we need these stages, or why is it useful? Well, after launch, there are some things happening that are, because of these parts, we're able to do certain things. The first thing is the solid rocket booster separation. The solid rocket boosters, when they fire, they're unstoppable. Solid fuel cannot be stopped. So either if it's good or bad, we have to launch the rocket. After we have used up all the fuel, it is useless. So we separate it. In our model, we cannot do it because they are fixed. But for your imagination, I have an animation as well as for all the other events later on. Sorry, why is it not working? That's not good. Okay, let's continue. I guess you have a good imagination. The next thing that happens is the rescue tower or the launch abort system. As the name already says, it is for rescuing. Our astronauts
That are located here will get saved by the rescue tower here. If there is a problem, for example, an emergency, our rocket is going to explode. We don't want our astronauts to die, of course. So this part will separate our astronauts from the rest of the rockets, and bring them to safety.
Now that we are in space, it is not useful and we don't need it anymore. So we get rid of it as well. For this, first the white shell
Gets torn apart. Not quite like this, but use your imagination. Now the Orion spacecraft is visible. Next, we get rid of the launch abort system and the rescue tower. This will fly away. Now we have our Orion spacecraft with the main stage.
I really hope the next animation works. No. Okay. That's very sad. Anyways, the last big thing, or the last time you see this orange color of the rocket, is now. We also get rid of the main stage. The fuel is used up and it's just too big and too much weight, so we also lose it.
The Orion spacecraft now separates from the big orange tank, and only this part continues its trip to Moon. We can quickly assemble it so it looks well again. I guess the next animation will not work as well.
Yes, okay. That's very sad. But in this animation, you could see that these solar panels now get to use. In our model, we don't have them because they're too small and the chances of them breaking are too big. Now, we are in orbit. Somewhere there. But we want to get to the moon there. So we give the translunar boost, we slingshot around the Earth, and now shoot to Moon.
Eventually, we don't even need this part. So another separation happens. and capture will continue to move. And just quickly imagine, this is the moon. We arrive at moon, go close by to slow down, and now we are at the furthest point any spacecraft with humans have ever been or will go, for now. After that, we shoot some selfies, which NASA has already published. You can see that in the presentation. And now we reach a stable orbit around the moon. We take measurements, map the surface of the moon, and so on. All the important things the scientists will need. Because 50 years ago, humans came to the moon and collected rocks. We came back. We didn't stay, but this time we're wanting to stay there, building some houses and research labs. That's what we need to do. We need to gather more information on the moon. After we got everything, we do de-orbit Earth, which means we exit moon orbit and shoot back to Earth. Now that we have again reached Earth's orbit, we do the last separation. Only here. That's the part where the important information is stored. This part will land on Earth. After it has watered in the Pacific Ocean, the US Navy will retrieve it, and then the scientists can use all the data. Let me just put this aside so you can see the presentation. So, that's it for the first part, the part about the rocket. But I also want to share personal experiences about our stay in the US. We have been there 2 times, because the first time no launch was possible. When we arrived in the first time, we had to do some preparations. Sir, Nadeep, can we get Cosma? So now it's time for Cosma to explain something.
Do you can all hear me? Hello? Okay. I want to explain you something about the arrival and the preparation for the Artemis launch. So, as you can see, we prepared for the first attempt, but sadly it was scrapped. Anyway, we stood up very early in the middle of the night and began to go to the buses. These big buses then drove us to the launch pad, or not quite a launch pad. They took us to Banana Creek. That's a point of view where you can watch the launch in a safety distance, exactly 5 kilometers apart. When we arrived there, it was very cold and also very dark, and I think I can speak for us all. We were all very excited and kind of shaking. It was still some hours to go until the launch would happen, but still we were ready to go and waiting for it. Sadly, it wasn't launching, so that's why we came back some months later in November, and then saw the launch at the 16th November of 2022. And that's what Arthur is going to tell me.
Hello?
Hello?
We are at a different slide, preparation.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. That sadly Cosma is a time traveler, because that was not the right slide. Just imagine you will hear it later again.
this one.
Yeah, as you can see, getting a connection and working communication to Germany from India or the other way around is quite difficult, so please excuse this mistake. So the most important part about our arrival and the preparation was getting the NASA VIP badges, which is like an ID card, so the people at the VIP location can see you are legitimate and you can watch the launch. As well, we welcome our international partners, for example, the Mexicans, as well as all the others. In total, we have been 17 people from 5 nations. There is Japan, Bolivia, Mexico, of course Germany, and of course the USA. In our time in Cape Canaveral, we experienced a lot of things. But the most memorable part is being tired. Actually, the time difference from Germany to Cape Canaveral is about 8 hours. So we needed a few days to get used to that. After we were cured from our jet lag, we had to get up at midnight because the rocket launches are only on specific time windows and we didn't want to miss that. But besides that, everything was great. For example, we had daily excursions, either to some universities or schools, to some industrial sites or space-related or NASA-related locations. As well as some historic parts. For example here, that's a memorial for the first American rocket that made it to space. We also had the great luck to meet a retired NASA astronaut there in the top right corner who could give us some insight or more or less secret information about working with NASA. But definitely the most important part was writing reports. Writing reports means we are sharing our daily experiences and what we did with everyone on the internet. So international interested people can experience kind of the same as we did. In the bottom right, you can see a Falcon 9 booster. Since some of you know SpaceX and these rockets, you probably know that a lot of them almost weekly get launched in Cape Canaveral. So the reusable boosters get retrieved and refurbished or collected in the port of Cape Canaveral, which is where we could see them. It was very impressive, and on this photo we are quite far away, but in fact we could get really, really close, which was amazing. I told you about one visit, or that we visited a lot of places. One of them is the Kennedy Space Center, the Kennedy Space Center visitor complex. The Kennedy Space Center is the place where the rockets get launched. And the visitor complex is where normal humans can be the closest to that in their life. Here you find many historic and real spacecraft, as well as models or replicas and many more. For example, this is the Atlantis space shuttle. This is the real one, and we saw it in person. This was truly amazing. As well as another Falcon 9 booster, or a model of the Orion spacecraft, which in our scale is black. But I guess you can quite good see the similarities. Another thing that is real are astronauts. We met a real astronaut that flew with one of these space shuttles, Charles Sommer. He is now retired and basically a teacher for new astronauts. Maybe in the future it is possible for us to work together. Also, what might be interesting for people like you are NASA challenges. This is the latest version of a NASA challenge, the Lunar Mining Challenge. Here, university students build robots that are remote controlled for ore mining on Moon and some different tasks. Because when we stay on the moon, we need something to do. For example, ore mining. So we don't destroy our planet by getting all the resources out of it. I also told you about visiting universities. This is not far away from Cape Canaveral and a very prestigious university, Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. Here you can study anything related to space or aircraft. You can become a pilot, which you can see here with a simulation device. You can study maths and physics, of course, but also aerospace engineering, any different kind related to that of engineering, astronomy, social studies, and much, much more. On that day, we got a tour by some volunteer students to give us, to let us know about the campus. What is interesting for me is that 20% of all the students are international students, which is also why we met another German, this guy in yellow. We were just on the tour going around and he noticed us speaking German. So he engaged into the conversation. This was quite a nice experience. Yeah, I'm thinking about getting Cosmo again.
Which one you can start? SpaceX.